Okay, how much is alcohol really costing you? And this is something I get all of my clients to do when they start working with me, is a cost benefit analysis of their drinking. Because when I say how much is alcohol costing you, I'm not talking about money. Money is part of it, but it's the cost, that it's a small part of the cost. There's so much more to the cost, and we don't see the cost. In fact, we have been conditioned to believe that there isn't a cost, or it's not very much, or here's the big one, it's worth it. How many times has someone said that to you? So I used to hear that all the time when I was drinking, because I had really bad hangovers, like just really bad, missed days of work, would spend days in bed, would vomit, like really bad hangovers. And so many times people would say to me, oh God, yeah, but it was worth it though, wasn't it? It was worth it. I was always like, yeah. You know what? It wasn't. It really wasn't. Like when I looked at the cost, like, I mean, I could be like really rough for a good couple of days, like not functioning very well, miss work, university, whatever, cancel plans, feel dreadful, go to bed early, throw up. The amount of money I spent, quite possibly have done some things that embarrassed myself, felt shame about, all of that kind of stuff. So like the fun or the connection bit was like this, and the cost was like that. And I look back and go, no, it really wasn't what, actually the fun bit was like, wasn't that great compared to what I had to pay. But we don't see it like that. And we're conditioned, right? Our culture, our peer group, our media, our culture condition us to not view it in that way. And this is why this is really important. There's a real smoke and mirrors about this. So one of the things I get my clients to do is the true cost of drinking. And by the way, this is a whole handout that I asked them to fill out, and I've included this in the Emotional Sobriety Toolkit below. So if you want to do it, you can grab it there. But it's quite an in-depth exercise where it looks at the money. So we do a guesstimate of how much money you spend. Then we look at time. How much time do you spend drinking, thinking about not drinking, and recovering from drinking? And again, the big thing for me was the recovering from drinking took the most amount of time. I think the time one is much harder than the money. You can get money back. You cannot get time back. And when I looked at how much time I had, my drinking was a full-time job on top of a full-time job, in all honesty. We want to see these things because we can't make decisions unless we're clear on the facts, right? We cannot make decisions unless we are so good at deluding ourselves about how much we drink and the impact it has in our life. We are really good at doing it. We are masters at it. So we cannot do that anymore. If you want to start this sobriety journey, you can't do that anymore. You need to see the cost. So true cost of drinking, big ones, I think, is impact in your relationships. What is the cost to your friendships, to your relationships with your family, to your partner, to your kids? How does alcohol impact that relationship? Those are huge costs. I think also, I mean, this goes really in depth. So it looks at how the cost to your values, which is your integrity. And I never really thought that, and I couldn't really see it until afterwards. The cost to my integrity, it was high. Not being who I really was, being a fake friend, saying stuff and doing stuff that is not congruent with my values, but I did it. That's a huge cost. It's a huge internal cost. This is why when we have an alcohol problem, we leave ourselves by degrees, right? When you lie or you manipulate or you just do or say things that are not congruent with yourself. And we just, one little thing, what's the big deal? But these things build up. And one day we wake up and we don't recognize ourselves. And that is a cost. And when we don't recognize ourselves, it's just very painful to be who we are. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like, I remember having that experience where I kind of realized with horror that I had become a person that I did not recognize and that I did not want to be, yet I was. It's really painful. It's really, really painful. And that's why we drink. We drink more when we realize how far away from our true selves we are. That's why sobriety is the journey back to yourself. And you can only do that if you're emotionally sober. Emotional sobriety is how we reconnect with who we really are, which is why I've included a link below in the comments to the Emotional Sobriety Toolkit. It contains all the stuff. It contains this exercise and a ton of other stuff that you can do in the privacy of your own home and get started today, like right now, in this journey back to yourself. So what we need to do eventually is, once we've done this and we've done a really clear-eyed view of our drinking, then we can ask ourselves this critical question: am I getting a good return on my investment? Is what I'm putting into this, am I getting a good return? That's it. And then you can make a decision, because, you know, there'll be lots of times when you romanticize having a drink. Oh, it's been 6 months. I'm going to that wedding. I just like a glass of champagne. And I always say to my clients, yeah, you can have a drink, as long as you're prepared to pay the cost. Are you, is the cost, are you okay with the cost? Are you all right with this? Is this okay with you? And nobody's ever said, oh yeah, it's fine. Because we don't see the cost. So you need to see the cost first. Because once we see the cost, then you know you're in the right place, right? And this may feel a bit devastating at first, right? It's real, but it is the starting block of your life going in a different direction. And like I said in the previous video, all those feelings are going to pass, right? All of the difficult stuff we go through in early sobriety, it's not going to be how it is long term. But I don't think you can start a really good foundation of sobriety unless you really know the cost of your drinking and that you are in the right place, because then it's motivating. It's motivating to do the work that you need to do. And that work is the emotional sobriety work. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the social drinking myth and wanting to be a social drinker. So make sure you watch that one and check out below the emotional sobriety toolkit.